different video now, different topic. So that's about the Day of Atonement. Okay, so I was doing some history, looking at some history books. This book called "Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee" by D. Brown, and on the book, that was a real event that took place in an actual place. There's actually a place called Wounded Knee. So it was a real event that happened. If you know anything about Sitting Bull was one of the chiefs of the Indians in that time, the 1800s, during the 1800 period, the middle 1800s. Because Sitting Bull was one of their leaders. Basically, I believe a couple of days after he got assassinated or so, which was an accident, because I believe he got shot by an accident because some Indian officers were trying to bring him in. He had some help, by these other dudes. Let's get to that. Like that. Here's the book. Bury My Heart Wounded Knee by D. Brown. So here's the book here. It says but Sitting Bull held back, making it necessary for Bullhead, which was the Indian police officer, a sergeant Red Tomahawk, to force him toward the horse. At this moment, Catch the Bear drew off, which was one of his helpers. And they were known as so the officer came in, told Sitting Bull what was gonna happen. They came out, and it says he found a crowd of ghost dancers gathering outside. A ghost dancer because I believe Yahushua appeared to them and showed them this ghost dance, too. Basically, they called him the Messiah. They called him Waboka, I believe. Waboka. Basically, he told him he was gonna show him this dance, and after whether it was true or not, they said after a year he would appear back to them. As the story goes, whether he said it that or not, I don't know, but I believe it was Yahushua, though. I believe it was, though, regardless, And I know Yahushua wouldn't lie. I know Yahushua doesn't lie, man. That's facts. Yeah, basically he told him, oh, now he had returned to the earth as an Indian, and he was to renew everything as it used to be and make it better. The next springtime, when the grass was knee high and the earth would be covered with new soil, which would bury all the white men, and a new land would be covered with sweet grass and running waters and trees. Great herds of buffalo and wild horses would come up back. The Indians who danced the ghost dance would be taken up in the air and suspended there while a wave of new earth was passing, and there they would be set down among the ghosts of their ancestors on the earth, on a new earth where the only Indians would live. Paiute, P-A-I-U-T-E, Waboka. Paiute, Paiute, Waboka, yeah. Yeah, the basically, and then, it was a whole bunch of, some things are confusing too, because, he told him he would come back, or whether he told him that or not, who knows, they could have added that, but, cause yeah, Yahushua ain't a liar, bro, so, because it even says he showed him the scars on his wrists and stuff, and that one on his forehead. They couldn't see the one on his feet because he was wearing what they say. They said he was wearing moccasins. Yeah. Throughout the day, he talked to them. In the beginning, he said, "Al made the earth, and then set the Amashiach earth to teach the people." But white men had treated him badly, leaving scars on his body, and so he had gone back to heaven. Now he had returned to earth as an Indian. So yeah, there you have it. There you go. You got that. But that led to that. Later on, it says here, I just wanted to catch the bear, threw off his blanket, and brought up a rifle. He fired at Bullhead, wounding him in the side. As Bullhead fell, he tried to shoot his assailant, but the bullet struck Sitting Bull instead. So he tried to shoot again. The same dude catch the bear, who was a ghost, who was of the ghost dance. Was part of the crowd of the ghost dancers there. Shot again, trying to shoot his assailant there. Red Tomahawk. But he struck Sitting Bull instead. There it says. Next, a sentence it reads, almost simultaneously, Red Tomahawk shot Sitting Bull through the head and killed him. There you go. So he got killed. The Indian police officer called Red Tomahawk killed him. In the head, shot him in the head. Basically. Because also there was a popular movement there. The ghost dancing there was getting real popular. So it's right here. With some skepticism, Sitting Bull invites the kicking bear to remain with his band at Standing Rock and teach them the dance of the ghosts. This was in the moon of fallen leaves and across the west on almost every Indian reservation. The ghost dance was spreading like a prairie fire under a high wind. Agitated Indian Burrell, B-U-R-E-A-U, inspectors, army officers from Dakota to Arizona. So that's how much it was spreading, man, from Dakota to Arizona, from Indian territory to Nevada. Because also you gotta understand, you had other chief Indians there who learned of the dance, and they went to other locations and taught the dance to them. This chief taught the dance to them and all of that stuff. From Indian territory to Nevada, we're trying to fathom the meaning of it. By early autumn, the official word was stop the ghost dancing. Just like how Esau's gonna try to do today. Now, whether that was all true or not, that ghost dance and all that, I believe it was. Either way, bro. A lot of that shit is on point. Yahushua, it said he hated the white man. He's gonna help the Indians and bring everything back to normal. So, chance is it is Yahushua. I believe it was though, unless I'm going off, Salakia. But I believe it was though. And they also had agents. They had agents there to stop the ghost dancing and shit. White-haired McLaughlin said, which this man, white-haired McLaughlin, was actually an Indian. Yeah, he was basically like an Uncle Tom. White McLaughlin said, although he was practicing Catholic, McLaughlin, like most other agents, failed to recognize the ghost dance as being entirely Christian, except for a difference in rituals. Its tenets were the same as those of any Christian church. You must not hurt anybody or do harm to anyone. You must not fight, do right, always, the Messiah commanded. Preach nonviolence and brotherly love. The doctrine said for no action by the Indians except to dance and sing. The Messiah would bring the resurrection. Come. Then again, Yahushua could have spoke in a parable. He could have met. By next year, he could have bet something else, though. Who knows? Anyway, some of the things on point, though. Except they went off later because they said they were talking about shirts that basically ghost dance shirts that were said that they believed to be worn to protect the wearer from being pierced by bullets. They said, which wasn't true, because and that's what led to the bury my heart at Wounded Knee here. Later, you had this other man called Bigfoot, the other chief warrior of the Indians there. As soon as Bigfoot learned that Sin Boy had been killed, he started his people toward the Pine Ridge, hoping that Red Cloud could protect them from the soldiers. En route, he fell ill of pneumonia, and when hemorrhage began, he had to travel in a wagon. So he began to feel ill. That's what happened, man. So then he started troops. Then it says Bigfoot immediately ordered a white flag run up over his wagon. About 2 o'clock in the afternoon, he raised up from his blankets to greet Major Samuel Whitside. 7th U.S. Cavalry. Bigfoot's blanket was stained with blood from his lungs. So he just ended up getting shot either way. And then after that, they took him. They ended up taking all their. There were 120 men, 230 women in their camp, because they were sent to disarm the Bigfoot's men and put them into a military prison. Which, what does that remind you of? Concentration camps that are going to happen soon, man. Just like with the truth, just like Project Megiddo, Project Zypher, that reminded me of that, man. Same way Edom's gonna come in, man, you know. And over here with Major Whiteside decided to wait until morning before disarming his prisoners. He assigned them a camping area immediately to the south of the military camp, issued them rations, and as there was shortage of teepee covers, he furnished them with several tents. Whiteside ordered a stove placed to make certain that none of his prisoners escaped. The major stationed 2 troops of cavalry as sentinels around the Syak's teepees, and then posted his 2 Hotchkiss guns on top of a rise overlooking the camp. The barrels of these rifled guns, which could hurl explosive charges for more than 2 miles, were positioned to rake the length of the Indian lodges. You know, there you go. And they were set to shoot a bullet each second, too, which is what killed a lot of Indians later on. When I'll skip to the point. Actually, I'll read this real quick. Even with their protected ghost church and their belief in the prophecies of the new Messiah, his people were fearful of the pony soldiers camped all around them. Just like Isaiah 9:59-19 reads here. So shall I fear the name of the Lord Yahweh from the west, and glory from the rising of the sun. When enemies shall come in like flood, the spirit of the Lord Yahweh shall lift up a standard against them. And even as it reads over here, Psalm 55 and verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords, man. No, because we are known as Yahweh's wife, man. We are Yahweh's wife. We are Yahweh's wife, man. Bride, man. It's favorite lover. And it's like saying, trying to whisper in our ear, you know, trying to confront his ways, because they were mad because they were doing the ghost dance. You saw I just brought that out. Then what? They were mad because Yahweh Shai came to us, man, and spoke to us. Because we are his, we belong to him. Edom just wants everything, you know, as it reads in Micah. His desire is hell. Or I believe in Habakkuk. Yeah, it's in Habakkuk. His desire is hell. Who enlarges his desire is hell, and is his death which cannot be satisfied. And just like the spiritual demon Satan is, bro, against us, always trying to make us go off and step further from Yahweh and his purpose for us, man. You know, just like Edom, what he does. What does he do with our woman? He touches them. He takes them. It's no different from Edom and his fucking god, the spiritual demon Satan, dude. Just like what I brought there in my last video, Amalek. When did Amalek appear? When Israel was asking for water and was like, is the Most High with us or not? And what happened after that? Amalek appeared, he went to war and shit. Matter of fact, let me just go get that real quick, bro. Exodus 17. Verse 8. Then came Amalek and fought with Israel and Rephidim. And Moses said unto Joshua, choose out men and go out, fight with Amalek. Tomorrow I will stand on top of the hill with the rod of Elohai in my hand. So Joshua did as Moses had said to him, and fought with Amalek. And Moses, Aaron, and Hur went up to the top of the hill. 11. And it came to pass, when Moses held up his hand, that Israel prevailed, and when he let down his hand, Amalek prevailed. And what does Amalek means? Taste blood. 12. Moses' hands were heavy, and they took a stone and put it under him, and he sat thereon, and Aaron and Hur stayed up his hands, and the one on the one side, and the other on the other side, and his hands were steady, going down to going down the sun. 13. Joshua discomfited Amalek and his people with the edge of the sword. 14. And Yahweh said unto Moses, write this for a memorial in the book, and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua. For I utterly put out the remembrance of Amalek from under heaven. 15. Moses built an altar, he called the name of it Yahweh, or whatever it is. You know, I'm not on my Hebrew too much as other seasoned brothers. I'm still new, you know. 16. He said, because Yahweh has sworn that the Lord would have war with Amalek from generation to generation. That was Satan, you know, trying to tempt us again, you know, just like Yahweh Shai was in the desert 40 days. What happened? Satan came to him, and that was when he was getting closer to the Most High, because he was fulfilling his purpose, man. So you know, there you go. It doesn't even say why Amalek came out. It just says, then came Amalek and fought with Israel and Rephidim. So this motherfucker just came out randomly to fight against us. Why? Because that was that hate he has in us, man. The hate he has for us, like he has to this day, which ain't random, you know, but you know what I mean, you know. That's why it reads in Leviticus here, man. Leviticus 26, verse 17. I will set my face against you, and you shall be slain for your enemies. They that hate you shall reign over you, and you shall flee when none pursueth you. And who hates us? Amalek today, being the so-called Jews today, man. Don't they hate us? They hate us. and they're ruling over us right now. That was the curse. Oh yeah, the Mossad told us he was gonna bring on us. This just what happened to these Indians here in this book, man. Exactly, like even in the hill, it even says they were in the hill. So notice how it's similar to even Moses and Exodus story there. The same, it's similar here, man. These motherfuckers just came up to these Bigfoot in them and wanted to make war. Why? Because we're getting closer to the Most High, closer to making it, man, to the promised land. Satan shows up, has to pop his disgusting head out in us, act like he's our friend, and shit, man. I'm gonna get to the point though. So they started asking for the guns, and then they weren't satisfied with that shit because they said that wasn't enough guns. Then they asked them to start. Then they for then they started looking inside their teepees, getting the guns, just like Joe Biden's trying to do now. What is he trying to do? Grab the guns. Anybody who owns a gun is under that list, man. That red list probably of a threat, man. The soldiers chiefs were not satisfied with the number of weapons surrendered, so they sent details of troopers to search the teepees. They would go right into the tent to come out with bundles and tear them open. The dog chief said, "They brought our axes, knives, and tent stakes and piled them near the guns." Still not satisfied, the soldiers ordered the warriors to remove their blankets and submit to search for weapons. The Indians' face showed their anger, but only the medicine man Yellowbird made any overt protest. He danced a few ghost dance steps and chanted one of the holy songs, assuring the warriors that the soldiers' bullets could not penetrate their sacred garments. The bullets will not go toward you, he chanted in Sioux. The prairie is large and the bullets will not go toward you. The troops found only 2 rifles, one of them a new Winchester belonging to a young Malconja named Black Coyote. Black Coyote raised the Winchester above his head, shouting that he paid much money for the rifle and that it belonged to him. Some years later, Dirty Beard recorded that Black Coyote was deaf. If they had left him alone, he was going to put his gun down where he should. They grabbed him and spined him in the east direction. He was still unconcerned even then. He hadn't his gun pointed at anyone. His intention was to put that gun down. They came on and grabbed the gun that he was going to put down. Right after they spun him around, there was the report of a gun and was loud, quite loud. I couldn't say that anybody was shot, but following that was a crash. It sounded much like the sound of a tearing canvas. That was the crash. Rough Feather said, afraid of the enemy, described it as a lightning crash. Turning Hawk said that Black Coyote was a crazy man, a very bad influence, and in fact a nobody. He said that Black Coyote fired his gun and that immediately the soldiers returned fire and indiscriminate killing followed. There you go, man. They killed, and that's when you had that incident. They killed a lot of Indians. Moving on, it says, oh yeah, this one dude said, Lois Weasel Bear said, but they shot us like we were a buffalo. I know he's, and this one he goes off. I know there are some good white people. There you go, he said that. Bullshit. That's why that happened to him. I was running from the place and followed those who were running away, said Hakik Tawin, another of the young woman. My grandfather and grandmother and brother were killed as we crossed the ravine. So she saw her brother, her grandmother, her grandfather killed. Just like what you're gonna have today in martial law. I'll get a verse here in Micah 6 and verse 13. Therefore also will I make thee sick and smite thee and making thee desolate because of thy sins. There you go. And also here in Amos chapter 4 and verse Amos 6 and verse 1. Woe to them that are east in Zion, trust in the mountains of Samaria, which are named chief of the nations, to whom the house of Israel came. Amos 5 verse 6. Seek the Lord, and ye shall live, lest he break out like fire in the house of Joseph, and devour it, and there be none to quench it in Bethel. Verse 16. Therefore the Lord Yahweh hosts, the Lord hath said this: one shall be in all streets, and they shall say in all the highways, Alas, alas. They shall call the husbandman to mourning, and such as are skillful in lamentations to wailing. 18. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light. 20. Shall not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light, even very dark, and no brightness in it? Just like how it was in this day, man. These motherfuckers got killed, man. They got tortured, bro. No mercy shown to them. It says right there, but they shot us like we were buffalo. I know. It says as a few of the Indians had arms, they soon had to flee, and then the big Hotchkiss guns on the hill opened up on them, firing almost a shell a second, raking the Indians' chant, shredding the Pt.Bs, and flying sharpnel, killing man, woman, and children. Connie says we tried to run, Louis Weasel Bear said, but they shot us like we were a buffalo. There you go. God says right here, when the man is ending Bigfoot and more than half of his people were dead or seriously wounded. It says more than half of his people were dead. If not, they were seriously wounded. Not one of them was not hurt or killed, man. What estimate placed the final total of dead at very nearly 300 of the original 350, man, woman, and children. The soldiers lost 25 dead and 39 wounded. Most of them struck by their own bullets or shrapnel. There you go. And then in the next page here it reads and there you go. And then they have their church there. Also, they have a church there. And it says later, it says there on the Christmas, across the channel front above the pulpit was strung a cruelly lettered banner saying, "Peace on earth, goodwill to men." Which is fucked up. Because Edom ain't about peace, man. You just heard it from the story there. But it says right here later, the wagon loads of wooden stocks, 4 men and 47 women and children, reached Pine Ridge after dark. There's the 14th day after Christmas in the year of our Lord 1890, which that's off, you know. The 4th day after Christmas in the year of our Lord 1890, when the first torn and bleeding bodies were carried into the candlelit church. Those who were conscious could see Christmas greenery hanging from the open rafters. Across the transit front above the pulpit was strung a crudely lettered banner saying, "Peace on earth, God, goodwill to men." I don't know. I mean, you could take that as a sign or as a mocking, a joke from the Most High to these Gadite you. I don't know. I'm not too sure, but hey, all I know is ultimately, bro, what the Bible says, bro. We were cursed, and that's why that had really happened, man. And that's why also, at the same time, Yahushua is gonna come back to rescue us, man. So this shit don't happen again, or worse. Or worse comes to worse, we all die, because that's what Edom's plan is, which we know is not gonna take place. Esau's plan ain't gonna succeed. Yeah, that's just some history that I wanted to share, bro. Bury my heart, wounded knee there, man. Some history on that. And by the way, also Sitting Bull was the same dude who saw the dream at before the battle of Little Bighorn of where Yahweh, basically the Great Spirit they call it, him showed him Indian, showed him soldiers falling like grass